Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio once again our friend, Dr. Goke Adegoroye. Dr. Adegoroye, you're welcome.
Thank you.
In the last segment, we were discussing banditry in this country and what has become of everyone. Everyone is crying. Everyone is wailing. Everyone is groaning. We are all hurting. And then the unfortunate statements of some of our leaders. And the fact that our leadership on top, Oga at the top, appears to have gone on siesta while all this is happening. And we ended up by praying that if government is on life support, government will wake up. Today, we need to discuss what is the way forward. Where do we go from here? What do you suggest? What are the steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, that you suggest in terms of turning the curve, turning around?
Yeah.
What are the steps from where we are, from the dismal picture we painted in the last segment?
Yes. Well, like we said in the last segment, the analysis have been made, and the one that is more compact is that one that was made by Malam Nasru El-Rufai,
okay,
where he has clearly stated that government has to be alert to its responsibility in the 3 areas of security, the rights of the people, and the rule of law.
Government should be alert to its responsibility in the area of security, the right of the people, and the rule of law.
The rule of law. Having said that, also is the fact that even at all the state actors also should be ready to not just speak truth to power, but to be open-minded about these issues. The idea of profiling, ethnic profiling or stereotyping, we need to find a way to let that go to the back. But of course, we also need the institutional approach to this issue that we are talking about. One other one is the report that he spoke about, that they say is before the National Assembly about federalism. Maybe when that is done and there is some kind of law enacted, amendment to the Constitution, to actually allow many of the items to go to the concurrent, and then the state to shoulder responsibility with community policing, with state police, then we will also be on the path. But then there's also should be some kind of mutual respect between each one of us in the way we relate and stereotype each other ethnically. So the institutional, the cultural, and even the traditional approach will be some of the things that we need to focus on.
The reason why we stigmatize one another and then we are at each other's throat with mutual acrimony, is it not that there are unresolved, historical, perceived or real injustices?
Yes.
There are perceived and like as I say to people, perceived injustice, if it is not addressed, is injustice.
Yeah.
Because they say perception is half of reality. And there perceived injustices, in recent times, sadly, I began to hear of certain things Awu was said to have done to Zik, or Zik was said to have done to Awu, or Zik was said to have done to the Sadauna, and things that I grew up not hearing, I am hearing in the 21st century, more than 60 years after independence.
A lot of those ones actually have been distorted from the facts.
Good.
Because when you read it again, the politics, the current politics,
yes,
is actually using distorted facts of the past to be able to get people into a frenzy of emotion.
I am saying,
to react.
Why are those things coming up? Of course, if my people say that if you check an old woman's whatever, you will find some stain or whatever.
Sure.
Meaning that if we had the correct leadership with the correct approach to building the country together, over time we forget about what your great-grandfather did to my great-grandfather. And then we recognize that we are one people.
Yeah.
if these ancient antipathies, acrimonies, and animosities are now propping up, does it not indicate that there are issues we must deal with frontally?
It does. It does. And the way to start also is even the current issues that we're talking about, the current injustice or the current inequities.
Yes.
Okay? So we need to be open enough, courageous enough, and fair enough to be able to talk about them. But unfortunately, under our political system, ethnic-based political system, we still find ways by which people try to get into those things and twist it for their own political benefits. If, when these issues of banditry started, if government can come out to say, okay, can we begin to assemble some data of those who have been victims of this?
Beginning with data, simple data.
After all, when you say there is storm, thunderstorm, and somehow, house roofs are removed, you are looking for a way to send palliatives, to send something. So, but in this case, the injury to the people is actually much more than that. Why can't we document so that we can find ways by which we want to pay? These are the people you should actually be clamoring to compensate, not the bandits.
Yes. You see how logic has been laid on its head.
Exactly.
That whether it is what do you call it? Whether it is Oyo or it is Ondo or it is somewhere in Enugu or Olo, there are communities that have been devastated.
Exactly.
Houses that have been burnt down, and those people are hurting. And then what they hear the next is settling bandits.
Sending bandits. Yeah, because let me give you a case that you may see personal. Chief Olufalai, former secretary to the government.
Yes, his farm.
His farm was attacked on 2 or 3 occasions. On another occasion, his worker was actually killed. Olufalai is somebody, he's been in the federal government, he's a political stalwart, he's a member of the Afenifere. When that kind of person talked, if there's some kind of response from the presidency, and you are saying there's somewhere where we're collecting data, we need to reach out to you, it will probably gag him. It will douse him, it will gag him from stereotyping it to be a Fulani thing.
Yes.
But because we did not, we gave him a weapon to now say, oh, the Fulani are against me. This or that. So part of the result of our inaction is making the issues, making the simple wounds to fester, and it's turning to cancer that is now actually attacking the nation. So this is what we are saying. So because if we start with that simple thing, it might begin to make people wake up.
If all of a sudden, in all these places that have been attacked in the last 2-3 years, including Benue, by the way, if there is some government agents that are there and are taking records of what people have suffered, then those people, even if they don't hear anything for the next 2 years, those people will know that something is being done.
Something is being done. You may not be able to do much for their humiliation, but at least you do something in terms of their livelihood and so on. Exactly. You might be able to find some way. But by the time we are doing that, even the bandits will begin to recognize, to think through that, to say, if I send cows to go and eat this person's farm, what he may get may even be more than the cost of the thing. Is it not better to do this? But the current method, where we are negotiating with them, as if we are negotiating with people who are fighting war against Nigeria, trying to get ceasefire, I don't know. I don't know where it's coming from.
Well, it's a confession, an admission of weakness and helplessness.
Helplessness, exactly.
And how do you feel? How does a community feel when your Balogu, because the governor is supposed to be our Balogu.
Yeah.
When the person who is supposed to fight for us and assure our safety, when he is begging our aggressors.
Sorry, let me tell you something. There is one that came out in the social media in the last 24 hours. If you remember, some weeks ago, one king in Ifon in Ondo State was killed.
Was killed, yes.
In the last 24 hours, there is reports going around that they are summoning the village chiefs, the chiefs of the village, to Abuja to come and answer query as to why a cow has to be killed in that same
I
state.
heard something about being called to Abuja over a cow.
Exactly.
And I'm saying...
So the people are saying, our king was killed, nothing was done. Abuja did not come on, did not summon anybody.
No. Are you able to confirm this story?
I say it's going on, but the thing we're saying is that these are the kind of things that spin out of something and become so juicy.
Let me pray that
so
that is
let
not
us
true.
hope that it is not true. But even if the cow thing is not true, what happened
about the chief
to the king of that town
that was
coming from a security meeting and was killed just a few kilometers to his village? Again, the thing that I say, sense of urgency, reaction in everything that we do, we'll be able to douse.
And look at the age of Wole Soyinka.
Yes.
Whose house was violated. And he shouted and screamed.
Yeah.
And the police made a nonsense of the report. And he corrected it.
He corrected it.
Still.
The patriotic nature of him corrected that. No, nobody
hurt
me.
But they
only went trespass to my farm and graze on my farm.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it took someone like him
yes.
to be able to imagine if he did not do that
yes.
within that time frame. It will spin some other thing.
And I'm still saying that there was no reaction.
No.
From the authorities.
No.
You see, and that is what you are saying, that when there is silence on the part of the authorities, then you give room for spinning all kinds of, mischief.
You spin mischief, and the perpetrators feel emboldened. Because it's like a field day to them.
So what you are saying, for example, our leaders, state governors, under the present dire circumstances, state governors should be talking to their people almost on a daily basis.
State government,
our president, the president who is the father of the nation, should be talking to us almost on a daily basis. You and I, we watched Boris Johnson during the COVID, whatever.
Yes.
He was addressing the British people to tell them what they are doing about it every day.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're talking about Boris Johnson. My wife is Mexican.
Yes.
Their president speaks for 90 minutes every day.
That's what I'm talking about.
My father-in-law wakes up in the morning to listen to him as if he's listening to the Pope and explain with his cabinet, explaining everything to them.
This is what we're saying.
Okay.
And many of us are not accepting the trash that
America that we even copy.
Yes. We see every day, we see.
Biden was sworn in about 1 month ago.
Yes.
He must have come to the television at least 10 times.
10 times. I mean, so... And many of us have refused to accept the fact that, it is his style. I mean, look, Nigerians are looking for another...
It is the accountability that goes with the system that we are operating. When we do not use that system, and we turn it to this KBSC thing. The KBSC thing hasn't just started. Remember, even during Obasanjo, he was just 62 years
and he was being called Baba.
We were calling him Baba. Because Nigeria just have that kind of sentiment. Okay? The only difference is that at least, Obasanjo himself is someone who will be able to... He has enough energy to be able to talk about any issue at any point in time. You will see that action is going on. In this kind of situation, this is too long. This is getting too far. People are getting worried. And those of us who felt we gave support, not that we regret support, we're getting nervous.
I mean,
because 2023 is right on the way. These things are going to give, flame. So it's a lot of landmines that are on the way for those who are working towards 2023. Remember that as some people are talking about taking over, some people are talking about scattering everything. And a lot of those forces are at play. And the only way out is for the sense of responsibility, sense of urgency, and the alertness to responsibility at the top. So now,
the image that comes to my mind at this time is a naked public square. That what we seem to be face to face with is that our public square is denuded, is empty.
Yeah.
And like what somebody said about government is unconscious. And like you said, this is serious. What can we, the citizens, do under these circumstances so that we don't have a situation where non-state actors from north and south and east and west take over. Because that's not going to lead us to any good place if non-state actors take over. Many of these non-state actors are not some of our, they may be courageous people, but they are not some of our most patriotic people as pan-Nigerian patriotism.
Yeah.
So what can we do to prod the government, to nudge the government, to drag the feet of those who are in power to the fire of democracy? What can we do beyond this talking?
The answer is blowing in the wind.
No, because Dr. Adegoroye, it's not about blowing the wind.
Because even as we speak right now, efforts that are being made is in the terms of registration of political party.
Well, I have warned though. I have warned that there may be no 2023 in terms of elections if we do not fix the broken system today. If we don't fix it, then, you may be like, that's where the blowing in the wind comes.
Yeah.
You may just be chasing the wind.
Yeah.
Because you have your house on fire. We can see the smoke in every direction. You have your organism bleeding. We can see the blood coming out in every direction. And what some people are talking about is 2023 registration for 2023.
The way out is for the president to immediately put pressure on National Assembly to do those constitutional amendments that they say has been with them, if it is truly with them, for some time, and let it come out within the next 3 or 4 months. That will be number one, because that talks so much about this issue of resource control, issue of
drastic reduction of the exclusive list.
Drastic reduction of the redistribution of the exclusive list.
Yes.
But then the moment you redistribute under this kind of situation where there are no funds even within the system, the states also will be crying. Because when you redistribute, talk about the state police, you are going to have people from those areas who can actually track the perpetrators and bring them to book.
Yes.
And it's going to be less costly for you. Because each time you say you are deploying police to some other kind of states, you are paying so much for relocation, for this, for that, and so on.
And they don't know the terrain.
They don't know the terrain. They're just there. In most cases, it's like they are being deployed to some kind of toll gate system to go and take care of themselves. So it's the commitment to really get out those people is not there. So once that is done, that'll be number one. Number two are those other issues that we're talking about. Let justice wake up and let it be prompt. Because in many cases they say when they even arrest and they send to those places, between police and the justice, it cannot go
Let
on.
Justice wake up and
be responsive.
Exactly.
So the third one is the rights of the people. There must be pronouncements that will allow not just that people's rights are being protected, but that you are even going to ensure that those who have been wronged are, that the system is going to find a way to be able to compensate them. So that all of those things will be spinning off with all the security thing that we are talking about. Because the army has already told you, it's not probably the army that will be able to do all of this.
The citizens, the states, the governments, everybody needs to take responsibility.
The government needs to wake up so as not to engender the proliferation of the Sunday Igboho that we saw.
Non-state actors.
Because the non-state actors are more romanticized with the public. The public like those kind of people.
Yes.
Okay? So, but then, who is going to be in charge? Who is going to control them? How are we so sure about their patriotism? At what point can we be guaranteed that they will not become instrument to be used by some other people with some other kind of agenda? So these issues appear so numerous, but they are not too complex.
No.
All we need to do is first step. Our president needs to take a first step. That first step may be to now have a national broadcast to the people that will look at these issues comprehensively and then talk about what they want to do with timelines.
those are the things that can calm nerves.
Calm nerves with timelines, and also set up those who will be monitoring to ensure that those things are done. If those things are done, and you are saying you're setting up a committee or something to be
implementation committee
to be able to take data about those who have been wrong, they're going to do this and so on, and many of those other things, people say, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So the person who is saying that somebody has gone to sleep, or what did you say?
Yeah, comatose.
Comatose, whatever. We say no. I mean, where people get into coma, they do wake up.
Yes, of course.
I have an experience in my house. My father-in-law was in coma my father-in-law in Mexico was in coma for 2 months in 2018.
He woke up.
He's bouncing all over the place now.
So there is hope.
Driving whatever.
There is hope that if our government is comatose, that it can wake up.
I believe in reality, I believe our government is not in comatose.
Oh, okay.
So it's too far-fetched to even call it that way. But whatever the non-action that is making people think that government is comatose should be removed.
Okay, what are the things that make a human being not to act? One is that you are in coma. The other can be that you are just sleeping. The other can be that you
are resting or you are watching.
Yeah, because you see, if there is fire all over your house and you are not acting, can you blame the person who says perhaps this is a very deep sleep? Africans didn't know about coma, but they say it's in a very deep sleep. And it is time to wake up. It is time we hardly talk about local government chairmen and councillors. Yeah. It is time to prod those ones. Local government wake up. Mm-hmm. It is a constitutional arrangement in Nigeria that we have local governments. Yeah. And they are supposed to be active against insecurity in the local government, against whatever the violence. What are they doing in our 774 local government? They are supposed to wake up. State governments are to wake up.
Yeah. They have to wake up. But they say that Yoruba says, or a buruku to untering, bad something that makes you laugh.
Person laugh.
Yes, it's unfortunate, not just at the state government, not just, it's at all levels. Also at agency level and at every level of leadership. We need to wake up and be alert to those responsibilities.
My hope, because I say Nigerians want to be together. Since I got to know you and your wife, we're friends. Yeah. Your wife just sent me some nice whatever. Nigerians want to be together. I think that what appears as mutual acrimony and animosities is on the surface level. Deep down, we want to be together. But we want to be together under certain terms and conditions. We want to be together. We want to be assured of equity and justice. We want to be assured that same standards apply to everybody equally. So, how do we get there? Because for 61 years, we have been bickering like this. Like a family where the children in the house are constantly fighting and so on and so forth. So, what concrete steps do you recommend for the president besides you say, okay, he needs to address us and set up committee to make sure that some things are happening? For the people, how do we assure the people that, look, it appears on the surface level that we hate each other, but we really don't hate each other, go to the neighborhoods and see people relating and sharing salt and pepper and this and this. Community. I don't believe that we hate each other.
That's a weapon in the hands of the politicians. All those manipulation.
Yes.
Whether it's of religion
or ethnicity.
Is weapon in the hands of politicians. And unfortunately, the way we practice our own democracy, the unwritten rule of what we even say that we need to move, rotation and things like that, has also played into it. Such that as soon as that thing starts, even right now, all they are talking about, it's going to be the son of the South, it's going to be the son of the son of this other segment. And the Igbos will also tell you that we've never had it since the Civil War. You need to prove to us that civil war has ended. I don't know how we're going to be able to manage that, because I wish we were actually electing people on the basis of competence, so that we will not even take this out. Take the experience that we always talk about. I mean, the experience of Malaysia, Singapore that we talk about. In Singapore, the first golden rule, you cannot talk about ethnicity and religion as during campaign or during any other thing. And yet, it is Malay, Indians, and the Chinese that are there. So, at what point are we going to face the reality and realize that these things are not going with us? And yet, like Dr. Oke will say, Ikechukwu will say, when they are actually in the art of corruption of Nigeria,
they work together.
They work together.
Yes.
Okay, so they don't see any division. So these are the things that we need to, first of all, look into, to say that, yes, as a nation, we must begin to preach that message of unity, message of togetherness, whether it's in religious houses, whether it's in whatever things that we do, and so on. But as we are preaching that, our actions, institutional actions, should show that that's the path we are going.
Yes.
Because otherwise, the moment people don't see genuineness, or they don't see equity,
it becomes to your tents, O Israel.
It becomes to your tents, O Israel. And if there is a time to do that, the time is now.
No, because we should have done it yesterday.
Yesterday, because what is ahead of us in 2 years, I hope we'll still be able to talk about this unity.
I do hope so, and I hope that everyone in Nigeria will take it seriously, and that we can begin to walk towards healing the wounds of today, beginning from our neighborhoods. Let community people who live in the same community have meetings together as to the way forward, and take their recommendations forward to whoever can carry them forward, and demonstrate that we who live in this neighborhood, we like one another and we want to live together. It's a blessing that we are Nigerians.
It's a blessing. Our diversity is our strength.
That's our richness,
and we need to be able to appreciate it. And this division that we're talking about, it's unfortunate. It's not us.
It's not us.
It's not.
Okay? It's not in our character.
It's not us. I mean, when you're talking about this and say that there is tension, one colleague of mine, when we were discussing, he said, "Don't worry." He said, "Those who chop Nigeria, when the situation is getting so hard, they know how to come together again and say, I said, I know that they will not allow Nigeria to scatter.
Because they have so much to gain.
They have so much to gain, so that Nigeria is their enterprise.
Yes.
So they will not allow it to fall apart. So don't worry. That at the right point, they'll come together again and give concession.
On that positive note, we shall end this discussion. I've been speaking with Dr. Goke Adegoroye. We've been discussing about Nigeria. Which way forward? Was it, who sang the song, Which Way to Go? Which way? Sonny Okosun. God bless his soul.
Yes.
Which way to go?
Nigeria?
Which way Nigeria? May the Lord lead us to the land of our dream. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.